Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's over. I mean, it ended like a month or two ago, and I'm just getting to it now because, as many of you know, I have a very complicated history with this show. But I watched this finale like 10 minutes ago, and I'm going to give y'all my thoughts. Well, we'll talk about my feelings with Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush and a couple other videos. If you've been here during the endings of the last several Yu-Gi-Ohs, you know the kind of stuff I like to do. We'll get to all that at some point in the near future. But for right now, I kind of just want to give my thoughts going out of the finale. I quite literally basically just binged the last like 11 or 12 episodes I had to watch over the last couple days. And I want to mostly focus on the finale, partially because what was going on in the majority of these episodes was just more of the crap I don't like. But there's some cool stuff they did in this finale and some really interesting ideas that I'd like to take a few minutes to talk about. And I'm going to try and focus on that because, I don't know, the anger's gone. The show is over. We don't know when the next Yu-Gi-Oh! Is coming out, which hopefully means they're going to take some time to craft a show that maybe like utilizes its ideas better, maybe takes advantage of its characters and its settings and just all the things that I feel like Go Rush definitely suffered for having a very like rushed and outdated style of production. I don't think I'm saying anything that crazy there. Like, how many anime franchise now are doing the whole like 45 fairly low quality episodes a year, in which case only 24 are good. Hell, even One Piece took a break. But yeah, no, let's just talk about the Go Rush finale. I liked it. I liked it overall. I think there's some really, like I said, there's some really interesting stuff going on here. First up, let's begin with our setup. As a shocker to nobody, I think we all started to see this coming. The original Otis comes back, where it turns out that where Yugo was flung into weird 1950s Pleasantville, he was flung into Sengoku period Japan, where he succumbed to his anger like he was in Sevens, which I think is interesting. Like, effectively, he is an extension of how he was at the end of Sevens. At the end of Sevens, he lost faith in humanity. He lost faith in its ability to move forward and how duels could help people craft a better future. And he wanted to just like wipe it all and take control of things. And what we see here is that's now been amplified because he went back to this warring time period. So his already fragile psyche and already on the verge of madness in the last series basically went even further. And now he's basically just made his own crazy like war game out of Sengoku Japan, like he did with Udius and the other Velgirans. I think that's kind of interesting. I think there's something interesting that not only did Yuga kind of not learn from the events of Sevens, we'll get back to that a little later, but Otis didn't either. And if anything, he wound up worse because of it and did arguably more fucked up shit, which I think is really interesting to think about. The idea of like, sometimes people just don't learn, they don't get better. And sometimes you really do just have to stop them. There's no redemption for this guy. The best you can do is leave him on a weird planet with Koidal forever, which I think is kind of interesting. But yeah, no, so the idea is that he's going to the moon. He's going to go to the future or present or past or I don't know to take over. And Udius and Yuamu and Yuhi go to stop him after a really painfully awful recap episode. No. Gonna be positive. They fly up to the moon, and you know what? For all of my issues with Yuhi, for all of the ways I think Yuamu could be handled better, and actually, I got nothing. I really like Udius. For all that, I do really buy the whole, like, the key to solving the problem is working together and valuing each other as people, which I think was a big message the show just naturally had by the concept of a protagonist who wants peace instead of war. The idea that Udius has been having all this anger and rage by his quote-unquote growth, or whatever you want to call it, and the idea is that the way to quell that is for him and the two most important people in his life to stand together and to share the burden and try to grow as a team. I think that is a very nice sentiment. And like, yeah, it's power of friendship that gets them to the moon, but fuck it. Like, fuck it. It's the finale. Why not? Go for all the cheesiness. So they go to the moon and they start the duel with Otis, and I really like this duel. I thought this was so cool. The idea of like a crazy time distortion duel, the idea that Otis starts swapping places with all these other alternate realities where other characters became Otis. Also, I like the fact we never really got an answer as where Otis came from, what is his backstory, what even really is he. I kind of like that that's left up to the viewer's imagination, and that feels a bit purposeful. But yeah, no, so the duel starts, and like I say, it's just fun, like seeing the way time changes and how it goes back and forth, and you're seeing how it's changing the moon. I think it's a great way to show stakes, to show that reality is warping, and if Yugioh and the gang don't figure it out and get it under control, there's going to be consequences. Bad things will happen, and only our heroes can prevent it. And this leads to a final turn, so over the top, so silly, I kind of low-key love it. For starters, I think that this is a much better way to have Yugioh use everyone's boss monsters than when I remember he did it like at the end of the first season, where it didn't really feel earned. It kind of did feel earned here. I kind of like the idea of using everyone's aces. I love the way that because of the structure of the duel, seeing everything out of order, it kind of made you wonder more how we got to certain points. And fuck it, Otis's like big like power turn there. Summon 3 fucking ritual monsters, make them all 10k. That's the fucking shit I want out of this crazy show. But of course, naturally, our heroes are able to overcome by making a pretty badass final fusion that of course forms UTS. That's pretty cute. And they are able to defeat Otis using the power of all 3 of their boss monsters, thus allowing for the time machine to return everyone to the future, or present or past, I don't fucking know. Except Yugioh chooses to stay behind. He chooses to accept his new role of leader of these people and help guide them through, and sending Yuhi and Yuamu back to their proper time. We also get a nice image of showing that Yugioh was able to get home. We see that he has been restored to his proper Yugioh-ness. Does this make a ton of sense considering how nihilistically evil he was and kind of how weirdly fucked up he felt? No, also he looked older before, but don't fucking question it. Who cares? But yeah, so then our final bit is we see everyone is okay. We see the Darkmen have become new UTS employees. We see Asuka has calmed the fuck down. We see Manabu is working at UTS. We see more cats. I thought this was all very neat and kind of a nice little wrap up. I actually do like the way the Darkmen were used at the end there. And then finally, we see that, oh yeah, and we also see that like the other reason Yugioh stayed behind was a bunch of the Otises are still attacking, and Yugioh and Zuijo and the Velgirans and the Sengoku people have to fight to stop it. And by the time we get to Yuamu and Yuhi's time, they're all gone. But when they find a memorial left to them, they see a message from Yugioh that if I'm getting this correctly, because the way it was subbed with the translations for the OPs was a little hard to follow, but if I was reading this correctly, we end on the note that if they can remember Yugioh, if he is still strong in their hearts because of their bond, he can come back. And the final scene of the show is them checking out a gift shop where we see, if I'm remembering how this worked correctly, it's Yugioh as he's restoring to a physical form to be reunited with his 2 friends, and they can just go on doing stuff forever. And by that, I mean never again, because let's be real here, we're probably never seeing these guys again. And that was Yugioh Go Rush. All in all, do I like this show? No. No, this was a good finale. It does not fix my issues with this show really at all. But The fact that it was still able to pull off some neat stuff at the end there, I think shows that despite all the problems, this was a very talented crew that I think when given the proper time to cook can make a genuinely great show. And I hope if Konami chooses to stick around with these people and let the world of the Rush Duel version of the anime continue, I hope they're given the chance to make something as great as Sevens with maybe some of the more ambitious ideas of Go Rush worked in there. But yeah, that was my thoughts on Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush's finale. We will get to the standard end of Yu-Gi-Oh! Series videos and maybe some other ones. I kind of have some ideas for some interesting things that we can do now that we're on hiatus for some period of time. But yeah, what did you think of this finale? In the comments section, tell me below. If you want to continue to scream at me because I didn't like this show, so be it. But tell me what you genuinely thought, what you liked, what you didn't like. And as always, click to like and click to subscribe and join me as we see where Yu-Gi-Oh! Goes from here. Also, just real quick before we go, in the description, I'm going to link a video by Rarity Fangirl. She's a great like Yu-Gi tuber who does a lot of work with like the manga and has talked about the anime before and all that good shit. She did a really nice fan community tribute video to Go Rush to show you all that I'm not against people liking the show. I really think you should give it a try, especially if you are looking to see people who saw something in this show that I just never will. I think that is definitely worth your time, and see y'all later.